Friday of the semester, and we're excited to have you back, and I'm sure you're enjoying the Chick-fil-A, but I think the conversation this morning is going to be very helpful. When you hear of the word innovation, I think one of the things you might think about is, well, you're asking me to change. Well, part of it is that, but that's not all of innovation. And you might even think, well, innovation doesn't really pertain to me because I'm not the leader, the one making all of the decisions. I'm just the worker. That couldn't be further from the truth. So our goal today is just really to unpackage some big ideas of innovation, because you're going to hear this word a lot. If you go onto any corporation website, they're going to claim somewhere in the first paragraph, 2 paragraphs, that they're an innovative company. Chick-fil-A that you're eating now claims that they are an innovative company in regards to drive-through management. And I would say, if you've ever been to a Chick-fil-A drive-through, they are pretty innovative on how they do it. I was just there the other day. They have these new things that their people wear that look like a poncho that's a tent. That they're sitting inside, they're making order. It looks really weird. But there's no other fast food restaurant that's doing that. So innovation is something that you're going to see over and over and over and over again. And I'm telling you right now, it's not something that you go to school and you go, okay, I want to be a teacher, so how do I be more innovative? Well, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to do this. I'm going to tell you, it's not a list of skills. It's more of a way that you prepare your mind to think innovatively. So there's a book out right now by an educator called The Innovator's Mindset. So a lot of what you're going to hear, there's some of it from education, there's some of it from business, but let's just start with some basic facts of innovation. Change is inevitable, right? Change is inevitable. About 3 weeks ago, there was a crash between 2 Carnival cruise ships because the current changed. Now, it's not probably the first time that current changed, but everything changes. You don't go into a job day 1 and then day 2 and the jobs are identical. Change is inevitable. It's a part of our lives. You're changing every day. You are declining every day. You're born and then you start to decline. That's the reality of it. So change is inevitable. Changes should not be scary, but I think a lot of times people with innovation, they don't like change, so they're like, I'm not going to be innovative. So that's the first thing. Change is inevitable. Innovation is service. So when you think about it, and we'll get into the definition of innovation, but when you're innovating, you're taking something and making it better. And you're making it better usually for people. So you might go, well, I'm innovating how I do my daily routine. Well, the way that you innovate your daily routine benefits your friends, benefits your family, benefits the people that you live with. So innovation is service. Innovation is the pursuit of excellence. It's not the pursuit of perfection, because perfection is a what? Myth. It's a myth. It is the pursuit of excellence. So a lot of times you've got to look at innovation and go, okay, who am I trying to serve? And who decides what is excellent? 90% of the time, guys, it's not you. You're doing excellent work for other people. What do they think is excellent? So growing up, I knew that my dad wanted the yard mowed a certain way. He didn't like straight lines. He liked diagonal lines. I don't know why he liked diagonal lines. We were the only house in the neighborhood that had diagonal lines. But he didn't just like diagonal lines one way. He wanted you to mow the yard the second time and do it the other way so it looked like Augusta National. But I knew that that's what my dad wanted. Now, the times that I just wanted to be done mowing, it was straight lines. It's like, box, whatever, I'm done. I'm out of here. But the times that I really wanted to be excellent for him and I wanted him to be happy when he came home, the yard was that way. The mower was put away a certain way. He determined what the excellence was because I was serving him. So what is innovation? Now, I tried to find a good definition, but then I started to just take that definition that I saw from Webster's or dictionary.com or businessdictionary.com, and I came up with this. Innovation is the awareness. So in order to innovate, you have to be aware. And we'll get into that a little bit more. But you have to be aware of what's going on around you. You have to be aware of other things. But then it's the courage to effectively meet needs and also fulfill the vision and the mission. So when you look at innovation, innovation is not just change for change's sake. Innovation is looking at a purpose. So if your life purpose is to be an educator, and innovating in that, you don't make changes that are contradictory to your mission. But they're also effective. Doesn't mean that they're always easy, but they're effective, and it takes courage. So the definition, innovation is the awareness and the courage to effectively meet needs while fulfilling or striving to fulfill the mission or the vision. Okay, I didn't have Jessica do this because I didn't have enough time. But I wanted to give you Jessica's laughing in the back. But I wanted to give you an idea of what there is tension with innovation. On one side, there's like, hey, everything's working. On the other side is, hey, we need to change things. And there is this natural tension, and there should be, because you don't want to walk in and today everything is different because your boss decided everything was going to be different. There has to be tension. So let's talk through this a little bit. So the yellow part over here, how do you have the tension of you don't want to innovate too much because what's consistency? I love Disney World. There's consistent things going on at Disney World. I would hate for them to change some of the things. So they've got to know the customer so well that they're realizing consistency is not a bad thing. Also, things are working well. Why would you change something that something's working really well? It's a good question. The other two is capacity. In my classes, I teach that your capacity and your demand are two different things. Your demand should always be a little lower than your capacity. So if you've got all this innovation going on, what happens is your capacity is too low and you can't keep up with it and you burn people out. And the last one is timing. There is sometimes in an organization or a family's history or a friendship relationship that innovation shouldn't happen, it's just not the right time. It's okay. Innovation shouldn't happen, it's not the right time. Now on the other side of that, pulling in the other direction is the need for improvement. So after getting started, we do a SWOT analysis every year and we try to improve things. And we're looking at that, so we should always try to improve. Changes. So that might be a change of method. So it might be the way they make coffee out of Renova, or it might be the way that we do event planning, or the way that we set things up for events or programs here on campus, or whatever we do, even with SGA chapels. You know, it could be an approach. The other thing it could be a new process. This was the last time that you will be scanned in with Cedarville student involvement. It is going away as of next Friday. So the whole idea with that new process is coming in. And I'm having meetings over the next couple of days to go over what will be that new process. But that's innovation. I was looking at that going, okay, here's a price tag, several $1,000s. Students aren't using it, except when we make them use it. Can we do it in a different way? And we're able to save quite a bit of money with that. That happened because of innovation. So how do you do innovation? Well, it's a mindset, like I told you. So I'm going to give you 3 things, and you've already heard these things, but let me explain them to you. We talked about this with mission. You have to be aware of the mission, you have to buy in, and you have to have ownership. The same thing is with innovation, and I want to go through that with you. So the first thing is awareness. The whole idea is you need to be aware of what's going on. A lot of times when you're working or you're doing things, you're so focused on the how that you don't get your head up and look around and say, okay, who am I affecting by working this way? And you have to be aware of that. You have to be aware of what's going on. You have to be aware of your limitations. Because there are things that might be a good way, a good thing to innovate on, but you are not the right person to do that. You got to be aware of the limitations of your group. There are times that I want to innovate like crazy, and I look at the time of the semester and I'm going, it's finals week. This is not the week to innovate. It's not the week to change things up. Getting started, when you're in the middle of getting started, people are coming to you and go, man, you ought to try this. Great idea, but you know what? There's 1,000 people in line right now. Not the time to innovate. So I'm aware of that. I'm aware of my role. I'm aware of my responsibility. Now let me stop you for a second, because you might go, okay, now he's really getting into, if you're not the leader, you can't innovate. Peter Drucker, in his book, Effective Executive, says that each of you are knowledge workers, meaning that you're responsible for the mission. You're responsible to get the organization further down the road. So what that means is your responsibility is if you see an opportunity for growth, you need to tell somebody about it. Now, your leader might be in a place where they're looking at you and going, nope, we're not doing that. I don't like that. They could be a jerk about it, but you have to have the courage, first of all, the awareness, but then the courage to say something. So when you have the awareness, the next step is the buy-in. So if you're making changes and you're innovating, but you're just innovating for yourself, you're really not innovating, you're just manipulating a little bit. When innovation is there and you're making changes for the other person, remember, a customer is just somebody who invests in you because you invest in them. So friendships are customers. Customer's not a bad word. But in your family, when you innovate in how you do stuff with your family, you're looking at them going, what makes them better? And if you don't have buy-in on that, then you're really not an innovator. You're just trying to make yourself look better. You're looking for recognition instead of being effective. I don't want recognition, I want to be effective. And there's the difference, and that's the struggle, and that's the buy-in factor. Are you bought in? So let's go to an organization. Are you bought into that church that you're so bought in that the reason why you're offering this idea is because you want the church to be better? Or are you just there going, you know what, I really don't like that pastor, I really don't like what they're doing, and I'm a negative Nancy, and I just want to give ideas right now, and I really don't care. That's not the way it is. That's not buy-in. So you have to have awareness, get your head up, see what's going on, and then also you have to have buy-in before you can do the last one, which is ownership, which means now you start investing. Every quarter, I get a report on my retirement fund. Now, the older I get, the more I realize that that fund is growing, and it's kind of fun to see that. But if I'm going to invest for my retirement, I've got to put money in now. So if you're going to be an innovative person, you've got to put stock or effort now. Meaning when you walk around campus, look at things. So when I go places, I'm always observing what's going on. I'm aware of things. I'm looking at things. Hey, could we do that? Oh, hey, could we do that? What could they do better? Excuse me. But I'm aware of it, and then I'm also looking for buy-in so that I can own it. And that's the goal. So let's use the example of this ship that crashed or collided. That's the word. It wasn't a collision. It was an ollision. That's what it was. I don't know what that means, but that's what it was. The ships hit each other. So this happened in Cozumel. In 2017, I was actually on the ship that hit the other ship. So the ship that was in the accident, I was on, and where it hit that ship, that's exactly where my family was sitting for dinner those times. So it's like we're watching this going, hey, that was our table. Hey, that table's now gone. So this whole idea is we've been to this port before. It's in Cozumel, Mexico. It's so tight. And they're trying to fit all these ships in here. And I know that when you read the report, I know that the company said the port is too small. But what has happened? Nobody has ever innovated to say, hey, I'm going to make the port bigger because here are two cruise ships that are massive colliding together. So the idea is, could this have been prevented? Absolutely it could have been prevented. Maybe it was one of the captains. Maybe it's a first mate or somebody saying to the company, we are putting these two massive ships together in too close proximity, and this will not work. But it didn't happen. Now you have two cruise ships that crashed, and now you think of Carnival and you don't think of safety. think of, man, they can hit each other in port. And the whole idea is maybe they need to relook at how they dock the ships. Everything is about innovation. It's not about saying, man, we need to build a new ship. It's like, hey, maybe we need to dock the ships a little bit better. So when I look at innovation, I look at it, hey, how are we doing exactly this? How am I aware of what's going on? How am I courageous enough to say, this needs to change, or this needs to stay the same? Can I say that as well? There are times that people come to the office and they're like, hey, we ought to do this. And my first comment back is, it's not sustainable. We can't do it at this time. People don't like that. But sometimes in innovation, it's the courage to say, we don't have the capacity right now, or it's the wrong time to make that change. We've been talking for a couple of years about what to do with presence. And it wasn't the right time until I was sitting there with our IT guy, our head IT guy, and he said, hey, Brian, I can do everything that you're doing right now with Google, and I won't charge you for it. At that point, I knew we could make a change. And then I also look at Natalia, and I look at Jake, and I go, man, Natalia's so detailed and organized, and Jake is just a genius with the computer. If I don't do it this year, when's it going to be done? So timing lined up perfect, innovation happens. That's what goes on. So it's that awareness, it's that courage. It's about being effective, not efficient. You see the difference? Efficiency is just doing things really, really well. Effectiveness is doing the right thing. So I want to be effective over efficient, but I also want to fulfill the mission and the vision. So to be innovative, it requires that mindset. I think you can do it. I think you need to do it, because what we're seeing in our world today is people want people that are willing to speak their mind, they're willing to look for the best in the customer, the best in the organization, the best in the family, and it will make you a better person.